Well, I'm pretty much broke on the Let's Play videos. I suppose I can get back to this little castle thing, which hopefully should be done in one other episode, but I'm really not sure at this point since I still need to do the castle gardens and I've no exact idea how that's going to turn out. I have to say, like, this castle, like, overall was really just one of those other random ideas that I really just felt like I wanted to do. But then again, the issue is that it just took much more time than I expected. Actually, I was very naive like when I just started out with this. I figured I would be able to do it in like 2 hours or something like that, but 5 hours further and I still have no idea of like how I'm even going to finish it. So yeah, that might become a bit of a problem. I do have to say, by the way, there's like not too much happening, I suppose, here. Just adding the wings, which are going to be similar to the main part of the castle. One thing that you probably have noticed at this point, I don't know if I have talked about that in the past. I may have, actually. I'm not sure about that. But the colors, they are slightly changed. It's not going to be completely white. It's not going to be a complete fairy tale sort of castle like that. Though, of course, this is a fairy tale castle. No amount of money in the world can buy you such an enormous castle. Or, like, no way that you can even make it work somehow. This really fits up, like, right up there with all, like, the crazy ideas that architects have had in the past and, like, never even turned out to be real. So that's a bit of a thing. But yeah, that's the basic sort of premise that I started out with. I wanted to make a really beautiful, cool, sort of fairy tale white castle and just go all full eclectic and unrealistic on it, but yeah, it just turned out that having everything be white really kills the depth in Rollercoaster 3 since you don't really have shadows that are too good. And the sort of overall look is comprised of individual objects that aren't really used in the things that they are supposed to be used for. So I really just had to get some color differences in to make it look a tiny bit better, get the depth out there, and actually perhaps also make it look a tiny bit more interesting, because it's really, really cold when you really have that 100% white look, which sometimes can look really amazing and stunning, but I don't know if I was quite going to pull it off in Rollercoaster 3, so I suppose it's also a bit of a more safe thing to do. Plus, I think it does still contrast enough with the lower parts of the building, where it just has the darker stone textures, so that should be fine in the end, I think. It's really just, this is just a crazy amount of stacking custom scenery over here to sort of get the desired look. Basically, what I wanted to try was to get those large, fancy, decorated pillars. There is a lot of vertical action when you have Gothic buildings, many pillars, and wall supports on the sides of buildings, so that's also something that I really wanted to get in on this building. And then there were obviously the arches as well. It's just that it's pretty hard to make it actually work, and that's why there may have also been some more of experimenting with stuff and trial and error that I maybe would have liked in this building. But then again, it's alright. I suppose in the end it sort of worked out. Except for the main tower. I'm still not too sure about that main tower. It's probably gonna stay because it's alright, I suppose, but it doesn't really work too well yet. Not to really mention that, you know, this is all nice and dandy that I'm building this castle, but no idea what it's actually going to be supposed to be used for. There were many people who have recommended to use the castle in the Let's Play Park. No way in 1,000 fucking years that's gonna even come close to happening. I'm very sorry, but it's just so incredibly huge. I can't fit that in the park, like, in any way possible. It's maybe even wider than the entire Dutch area combined. It would be way too ginormous. It really wouldn't work out. It would be absolutely terrible. This is just a fantasy structure. Yeah, not to mention that realistically no theme park can even afford to build this building. So that might be a bit of an issue too. So yeah, that's why I really don't think I can do much with it. The idea at the moment of what I'm really going to do with it is just just finish it, make it look nice, take some fancy pictures of it, probably turn it maybe even into a separate video, just quickly showing it off in a similar way to how I did it with the cable car ride thingamajig. I mean, that was pretty alright too, so I could probably do something like that too. Mainly just take some cool pictures and make some cool little films and then delete it from existence and just keep it as a sort of learning experience. It was really nice to see like whatever things you could use for whatever functions in buildings. Like, really, the main street sets are so incredibly versatile when you really get down to it. Like, there is so much of the Main Street 2 roof support piece in here as the most random of things, really. Like, I'm pretty sure I actually used the roof support piece from the Main Street set 2, both as the support as well as the capital of the pillars over there. The pillars from Main Street 9, which I still think are the most user-friendly and best-looking pillars out there of any of the RCT3 pillars ever made. Only problem with them is really they are 4H and you can't really change anything about that, so you're stuck with what they're like. But then again, that's alright, since, you know, with a bit of working around it and adding some roof pieces, that can usually work for larger pillars as well. Not to mention that you can stack them. I've seen people do that. I just feel like it does look a bit wonky, so I would like to avoid that in whatever way I really can. And then all of the little details and decorations are also from the Main Street, mainly since you can obviously see the Main Street 9. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I'm pretty sure it is a cornice piece, which does have the little circles and decorations on it, which sort of makes the wall look a tiny bit less boring than just straight bricks with nothing on it, really. And by the way, you may have noticed that this was just one of... Wait, no. First, I need to talk about what you may have actually noticed. See, I get ahead of myself again. There is a, like, blue bar at the top of my screen at the moment, which usually shouldn't be there. It's just that, for once, I felt like I could record with shadow play. Which turned out to be a pretty nice thing, but I still need to figure this entire thing out, because I thought I had all these settings up right, but it cut the entire time-lapse into videos of 20 minutes. But that means at this point I had like 11 videos of 20 minutes or something like that, or it was like half that. I'm not entirely sure. I mean, like, I have 3, 4, 5, I don't know, like 8 videos up here. Way too many videos for a little over 2-hour time-lapse, so that was a bit annoying. And there's obviously the blue thing over there, which I might also crop out, but then again, then Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 wouldn't be completely full, like, good anymore. So yeah, I'm just too used to Fraps. The only real downside to Fraps is that it just creates huge uncompressed AVI files, so that's just the big downside. I mean, with just 1 terabyte, and saying just 1 terabyte sounds really bad, but I'm not gonna easily make that with Fraps. That's a bit of the problem right there. By the way, this was also pretty funny. Like, Gothic details, basically, is something that you don't really have in Rollercoaster Tycoon 3 too much, and it's something that I really needed to have for both this building, but also like some of the earlier builds that I tried, like the Romanian castle and the cathedral as well. And it's just really hard to get around actually having Gothic details, but it does turn out that the Disney set, which does have those smaller roof pieces that are supposed to be used at the top of a tower for a Disney castle, work pretty damn well for those little Gothic support things. And then there's always the little things that you could just add around pretty much anything, like those white balls, and make anything look alright in that sort of respect. Though my favorite of the little doodads that you can pretty much use anywhere to make things look good are probably from the Efteling set. You may have noticed that I use the little peaks from Pat's Efteling set very often. They have like these little peaks with small spheres and triangular stuff on them, and they are very small, but you can pretty much use them to cap off any sort of spire that you have anywhere, or put them on fences, even put them on lampposts. It's really amazing to just have those really small pieces, very simple, that you can just add onto things to make them look a tiny bit more detailed and alive and just nice overall. So that's also what sort of helped me in those little cathedral, and these little Gothic, I mean, pillars and stuff. And I must say, yeah, it's mainly in the details that this building, I suppose, is going to look nice eventually. I mean, I'm still really not too sure about the way that the main tower looks and the fact that it dwarfs the rest of the building. Though I must say that from the front, it does still look pretty good. I'm pretty happy about it. I'm just still not sure about the tower, but otherwise I feel pretty confident about the building. It's definitely a few things that you can always change, make it look a tiny bit detailed in some ways, and perhaps also change the shape of the building overall. I was at first planning to also have some smaller tower-ish looking things on the sides of the wings as well, but that just really didn't work out in the end. It just it would be a tower fest, and that was something that I really wanted to avoid with this building. Like, as soon as you get into the more fantasy-ish themes, it really soon starts to be a tower fest, and that's really something that I didn't want over here. But I think I should about round it up. Actually, no, I still have a tiny bit of time left over here. I'm actually gonna cut this off at about 11 plus minutes, and then save the rest for the last time-lapse, which, if it really becomes way too large, then I might just cut that up and add some pieces to that and make 4 videos of this palace, but that's really not the planning. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just have to, at some point in the future, get back to this thing, actually finish the gardens, get my shit together, and actually do what I'm supposed to do. Also, speaking of those towers, at this point I was ending those towers, though I am pretty sure that I did remove those in the end in favor of not having them, which was a bit of a bummer because they looked awesome. It's just that for the castle as a whole, I felt like they were not really good. But in any case, that's gonna be it for today, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.